Hey up, Rock God 2004 back with another video for you, and I'm now going to do the next batch of Iron Maiden stuff. So I'm going to start with mainly the UK 7-inch singles original issues. There is the odd one that I've got, which are from other countries, and because it's only the odd one, I want to just include them in this first batch. There's going to be a few different sort of sections to it. I think there's going to be 3. So there's the original issues, then there's the 2014 reissues, and then there is some bootlegs as well. So the singles I want to show you now, if there's a picture disc shape, not 7-inch or 12-inch, that's a separate video. This is 7-inch singles only. So I shall start with the UK 7 inches original issues. Here we go. The first ever single that Maiden released was a self-titled 3-track single. They recorded as a demo really, and they just sold it at their gigs before they were signed, before they were famous, and it was called the Soundhouse Tapes. It had Iron Maiden, Prowler and Invasion on. They did record 4, the 4th track being Strange World, but that never made it onto the EP. The songs from the EP in the end came on the vinyl release of the Best of the Beast album box set, which I showed in another video. And it has all 4 songs on. I don't have the original single, nor probably will I ever have it. It's a grail that I've wanted all my life, and I've never ever got it. And it just goes up and up in value, so I think I've kind of gave up on it. The only way I'll ever get it is if I come into a substantial amount of money, which is highly doubtful. So once they released that in 1979, I think it was, they recorded it on New Year's Eve, 78 into 79, I believe it was. They then got signed to EMI. It was either December 79 or early 1980. And then the first official single was Running Free. This has got the B-side, Burning Ambition, which I didn't even realise actually till years later that it's not Clive Burr on the drums. I think it's Doug Sampson. So this must have been recorded at the same time as the Metal for Mothers compilation stuff when they did Sanctuary and Rothschild for that compilation. The original Eddie labels, God, 1980, 43-year-old. And Burning Ambition there. It looks brand new, like it's just come out the shop. And this is the first issue with the rarer hard card sleeve. And it's immaculate. I've also got basically the same thing, but with the sort of thinner paper sleeve. Again, looks absolutely brand new. And then there was later issues where it was just issued in a plain black sleeve, so I've got that as well. I absolutely love Burning Ambition. It's so underrated. So yes, that's the 3 versions I've got of that. Their first single, Running Free. The second single on EMI caused a bit of a uproar when it came out because of the artwork on the sleeve. This was the first thing I ever heard from Maiden, and this is what got me into them. It was this single and this artwork that got me into them. Same year as Running Free, this is 1980's Sanctuary, and this is the original sleeve before it got censored. When that came out, it was obviously Eddie killing Thatcher. Yeah, there was a bit of hell on about it. And it's got Drifter and I've Got the Fire live on the B-side. There's probably a lot of people already know this, but the version of Drifter on this is the only version you can get where Paul Di'Anno says to the audience, for not shouting loud enough, you're a load of wankers. Every other edition, the 2014 reissue, the European 12-inch version of this, the Japanese version of this, it's cut. It's changed. The version of the song's slightly different as well, but that's the only way you can get this version is on the original Sanctuary single. And again, this is absolutely immaculate. This one never came in the harder card sleeve like Running Free. But when I had this years ago, my original one was the censored sleeve, which I'll show you in a sec. Again, original Eddie labels and Drifter. And I've got the Fire on the other side. And the one with the censored sleeve, it's basically exactly the same thing. They recalled them all and just put a black bar over Thatcher's eyes, which I thought was a bit silly because we still see who it is. So yes, if you've got the one that's uncensored, the 1980 pressing, you've got a bit of a rarity. They're both not the easiest singles to come by, to be honest now. And this is my original one, which is, well, not my original I had years ago, but this is the first one I got when I started collecting again. This one's the censored one again. But when I met Steve Harris, he signed it for me. So obviously I won't be parting with that one either. Again, record's in amazing condition. However, the other two are like they just come from a shop. So yes, 3 copies of that, 1 signed, 2 censored and 1 censored. So that's 1980s Sanctuary. The next one I've got is a Japanese single. This is the only Japanese 7-inch I've got, and my God was I lucky to get this, because I got this absolutely dirt cheap. I must have just been looking at the right time, and I got it for, this was way less than 50 quid, way less. I think I got this one 30-40 quid. When you bear in mind these singles go from anywhere between like 150 to 200 quid. It's the same artwork as Sanctuary, and it's blanked out, but the single actually isn't Sanctuary. And I've got this signed by Steve Harris as well. So this is the Japanese 7-inch of Prowler. And Steve Harris signed it there when I met him. Prowler is on side 1, and the B side is Running Free, which was obviously the first UK single. And it's on the Toshiba EMI label. There you go. B-side, Running Free. And it's a solid centre. I'll take this out now. Show you the... Come on, you sod, yeah. There you go. A-side, Prowler. And it is just the studio version of the single. And you get the sheet with the dodgy Japanese lyrics on the other side again. I won't get into that, but God, they're funny. They are so funny. So yeah, there's a handful of these Japanese singles I would love to get, but it's not going to happen. They're too expensive. So that is my only, one and only, Steve Harris signed as well, Japanese 7-inch single, Prowler. Sanctuary, which was the second single which I've shown, it wasn't on the debut album, but it was in America and Canada. So we only got it as that 7-inch single over here. And then after the first album came out, they released another single, which wasn't on the album as well. So this was like after Running Free and Sanctuary and after the debut album. And this is a cover version of an Australian band called Skyhooks. It's covered one of their songs called Women in Uniform. Miraculously, Thatcher's back upright again, so she must have survived. And there's Eddie with a nurse and a secretary or something. These old Maiden sleeves, like set on like the council estates, and I absolutely adore them. So many memories these bring back. And look at this, like you'd see this now. Where is it? Friday the 21st of November, they are playing Brunel University in Uxbridge. Saturday, November the 22nd, Leeds University. Sunday the 23rd, Redcar Court and Bowl. It doesn't even exist anymore. City Hall, Hull. Yet Tuesday, November the 25th, was Newcastle City Hall. I thought it would have been the Mayfair, but no. Odeon, Birmingham, Derby Assembly Rooms, Victoria Hall, Hanley, University of Sheffield, and the Apollo, Manchester. Wow, if only it was like that now, eh? I noticed as well, these are the original labels again, but this one, even every copy I've seen, this has got like the labels are more of a brown tinge. And then Invasion, which was the one of the tracks off the Soundhouse tapes, re-recorded. So there was Invasion, Iron Maiden, Prowler, Strange World. All four of them were re-recorded at some point. 3 of them, I think, were on the album, and then there's that one on the B-side of Women in Uniform. That's just a lyric sheet in there that was with it when I bought it off the dude that I know. So I should keep that in there for safekeeping. This is actually the best condition sleeve and record of this that I've ever seen in my life, because the Women in Uniform ones normally get quite tatty. So yeah, busy year for them. 1980, Women in Uniform. The next single was I'm sure this actually came out after the Killers album, and this was a double A side. So on the first side, you got Twilight Zone, which was a non-album track, unless you were in America, Canada, and Japan. It's on all their versions of the album Killers, but it's not on the UK one. And then the other side, the other double A side, is Wrathchild. And that's the lineup that I've got that signed photo from, that I keep in the Killers album. So I've got 3 copies of this. There's the original black vinyl. One Wrathchild on the other side. And then there is a red vinyl. And a clear vinyl. There is a mispress of this, but I don't have it. I really wish I did, but I don't. And I think what it is it must have been when they were changing the pellets between the clear and the red. Because it's like the clear vinyl, but it's got like a very light tinge to it. It looks like a bronzy brown. And it's actually known as the brown vinyl thing, but it wasn't an official pressing. And they're really, really difficult to get. I've never seen one in the flesh. I've seen one on eBay, and that's all. I don't have it. It's another one of those grails that I don't think I'll ever have. But yeah, this is probably one of my favourite Maiden singles. I love it. Twilight Zone and Wrathchild. The next single, both the A-side and the B-side, are from the Killers album. And as far as the EMI singles go, this is one of Maiden's most collectible and sought after. And I love the artwork on this, and it's Purgatory. The album cover to The Number of the Beast was originally painted for this single, but when Steve Harris seen it and the band, they were like, no, that's far too good, we're going to keep that for the next album. So Derek Riggs had to go away and come up with something else, and this is what he came up with, which I think is an amazing piece of art. I love it. And then the B-side is Genghis Khan, the instrumental. I've got 2 of these. both in amazing condition. I did have another one, but I sold it. So I'll only open one because they're exactly the same. Whereas women in uniform had like the browner labels, this one had like more pale. It's like as though they were running out of ink when they printed these. I thought, is this the last of the labels, lads? So yeah, even now this is like quite sought after. It's not the rarest thing, but it's definitely one of the most collectible singles. Purgatory. The next single they released was only available as a 12-inch, and it was made in Japan. It was a 4-track live EP, unless you were in America and Canada and I think New Zealand, where it was a 5-track EP. And the bonus, I'm not watching the bonus song, the other song you got was Rothschild, all live in Japan. I found out later on that there was a demo single, and I finally got one about 6-7 years back. It's a 1-track promo for the Maiden Japan EP, and it's running free live. So you get that on the side, A side, and on the other side it's just like a buzz, nothing on it. Somebody told me about this before. I can't remember where it was, but like, well, that's not in the original sleeve because the original sleeve's black. What's a Mary? Have I got it and you don't? I hate people like that. It's a sleeve. You can easily get a black sleeve. I actually like the old EMI sleeve, so it came in that. It stays in that. So I can't say Made in Japan because it's the title of the full EP, but that is definitely the Made in Japan version of Running Free. So that basically Made in Japan demo disc running free live. Made in Japan was the last thing they released with Paul Di'Anno before he was half kicked out and half quit. It wasn't suited to him at all, the touring and stuff. So then they got Bruce Dickinson in. At the time I was gutted because I couldn't stand him in Samson. And then when I heard the first single they brought out with him, I was like, absolutely blew me away. So their first single without Paul Di'Anno was Run to the Hills, and it's probably one of the most famous as well. This is not easy to find in this condition because I think everybody played this to death when it came out. But this looks like it's just come out of a shop, brand new again. Again, I don't think there ever was like a card sleeve for this. And this is where the labels changed. Still Eddie labels, but this was the new one where he's lurking under a street lamp. And the B-side was a non-album track called Total Eclipse. Unless you were in Japan, where it was included on the album. This is the one where the latest release of Number of the Beast, the 40th anniversary one, they've actually took Gangland off and put that on to replace it because they regret not doing that anyway. So that's the original first black vinyl 7-inch issue of Run to the Hills. I also got the 7-inch picture disc. It was this that I bought first when it originally came out, and I played this to death. One of the nicest 7-inch picture discs I've seen. I do like it where you get like a decent image on both sides. Sometimes you get picture discs and you might get a nice side like that, and then you turn it over and it's all just writing, but at least there's artwork and a photo on that. So that's the original UK 7-inch picture disc for Under the Hills as well. And then I've got, I do believe it is Spanish pressing. Signed by Steve Harris again. Corre Ayas Colinas, or Colina, I don't know how you pronounce it. Same labels, but with no centre. Yeah, Spain. I was just double checking. I thought it was. I've had that a kind of few years now. I got that from Sounded Out, the record shop, local record shop up here. So that is all I've got, 7-inch wise, of Run to the Hills. The next single ended up being my favourite song of all time. And it is the title track of their third album, from which Run to the Hills come from. And this is The Number of the Beast. And when I first saw that artwork, it absolutely blew me away. Now, it says on the B-side that it's a live version of Remember Tomorrow, recorded live in Italy. It isn't. If you listen, if you've got a keen ear, I spotted this the minute that I played it. It's actually the version of Maiden Japan. Same crowd, same music. They've just took Paul Di'Anno's vocals out and got Bruce to re-record his vocals on. But it's you listen to the music, exactly the same version. This is the red vinyl. You can get this in black vinyl as well. I kind of have it and I kind of don't, because the regular one looks exactly the same with the push out centre like that and same sleeve. But the one I've got, it doesn't have a picture sleeve, and it's the harder to find solid centre. Don't think there's many of them about. So I do have that single, but I just don't have the picture sleeve for it. And the other one I've got of it is the German edition. And the same as like the Spanish pressing of Run at the Hills. It's got like the bigger centre where you have to put the adapter in. So, yeah. Favourite song ever, and still is to this day, The Number of the Beast. The next single was off Maiden's 4th album. And I've ended up with 2 of these as well. And it's Flight of Icarus. When I first bought this years ago, it was that horrible, you know, those plastic labels, they're called inkjet, and it was silver. And I just thought, because I bought it like that, I thought they were all the same. Now, I found out later on, there was paper labels, which is what both of these are. And this has got the studio version of I've Got the Fire on the B-side, which was originally a live version on the B-side of Sanctuary. And this is the first ever single to release Nicko McBrain, with Nicko McBrain on drums, who I don't think is as good as Clive Bear, but that's just my opinion. So I'll just show you one because they're exactly the same. It's just so much nicer. Black labels with red print. And on the B-side, I've Got the Fire, which was originally recorded by the band Montrose with Sammy Hagar on lead vocals. They're both the same. I don't think it's... Yeah, both the same. Flight of Icarus. The next single is probably one of their most sort of popular. And again, I've ended up with 2. This did come originally with a glossy card sleeve, and I don't have that. They both just got the paper one. It's the Trooper. This is the one I've got my tattoo of. I know it's upside down, but I can't be bothered standing up. With the B-side is Cross-Eyed Mary, which is a cover of a Jethro Tull song. So I'll just show you the one. The same labels as Flight of Icarus. Again, so far, these are all sort of like immaculate, as they'll just come out the shop as well. So yeah, 1983, The Trooper. Next up was the following year, and another new album, Power Slave, and the first single off it, 2 Minutes to Midnight. And I do have the glossy card sleeve to this one. B-side, it is a cover, but I can't remember who the original was. It's Rainbow's Gold. It's not great, to be fair, with the World Slavery Tour dates there. It's a nice, happy photo. This is when the labels changed to black with just the silver print EMI labels, and I can't stand them. I hate them. They're so dull. It wasn't just Maiden and went like this. I've seen some Duran Duran stuff exactly the same. So it must have been a bog standard EMI Kate Bush as well. So it's just not nice, is it? I'd rather have the Eddie labels, to be fair. I didn't like this very much when it first came out, but now I've learned to absolutely love the song. And I love it when they play it live. How I dread Fear of the Dark live is what I used to think of this, but now when they say 2 minutes to midnight, I get quite excited because I really do love the song. I don't love that artwork though, it's so depressing. Very, very clever though. So yeah, 1984, 2 minutes to midnight. Second single off the Power Slave album, which is definitely one of their most popular songs. And they went from not playing it for absolutely donkey's years to now they're kind of overplayed it again. Aces High. From the B-side is King of Twilight, which is also a cover. I don't know what it was, but these Power Slave era B-sides for me were just utter cack. A solid centre this time with Aces High. And King of Twilight on the other side. They're just so dull, those labels. There was, to the best of my knowledge, a glossy cover, but I don't have it. Even so, immaculate. Aces High. The following year, Maiden released their very first full-length live album, which was Live After Death. And before the album came out, they released this edited version of this as a taster. There's a live version of Running Free. This just goes on for 3 minutes and odd, but if you get it on the album, it's about 7-8 minutes long because it's got all the getting the crowd going. And for me, with the exception of the studio version, if you're looking at live versions, the Live After Death version is the definitive version for me. And the B-side is a live version of Sanctuary, which is also absolutely fantastic. This does have the plain, crappy black labels again. But this one came with the poster sleeve. So there was that way with the front cover and back cover artwork. Then there's band photos like with their little signatures on printed, obviously not real. And then on the other side you've got a live shot of the sort of Live After Death era. It was the first time I think that these ever like issued a record with a poster sleeve. They've only done it, I think it's twice. It seemed to sort of have like quite a popular sort of thing at one point, that poster sleeves of records. I was just surprised that these did it, to be honest. I just didn't think they'd have gone for out like that. So that's the live version of Running Free. The next single was another live single off Live After Death. And this was Run to the Hills. Running Free and Run to the Hills, they've obviously had singles before. This is not a great version of Run to the Hills. Bruce's voice is a bit... and Nico's drumming, well, you know what I feel about that. He just cannot drum the Clive Bear stuff. So I've never been fond of this version. However, the B-side, Phantom of the Opera, I absolutely love it. This is a solid centre one as well, I do believe. Yes. Don't think this actually came with a 4-prong centre. I was surprised that they put Phantom of the Opera on the B-side, to be honest, because it's actually quite a long song, or at least I thought they would have pressed it at 33. This single also came with a very limited Christmas card. So Eddie chasing Cinderella on the outer, and then on the inside you got that. So yeah, the Christmas card I thought was a nice little addition to that. So that's 1985, the live version of Run to the Hills. 1986, brand new studio album, brand new tour. This was the first time I saw them live. And the album was Somewhere in Time. Before the album came out, the first single with the most amazing artwork on it, even though it's futuristic, is Wasted Years. This is one of those, like the album cover, where if you look, there's all sorts of stuff. Doctor Who's TARDIS. I'm sure this is a reference to Back to the Future. And on the B side is a cover called Reach Out. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's not Bruce. It's actually Adrian Smith on vocals. And he's got a hell of a voice. But Bruce does do absolutely outstanding backing vocals in the chorus, as you can hear him. It's fantastic. A solid centre with those horrible labels against Wasted Years and Reach Out. Obviously, Reach Out wasn't an album track, no matter what country you were in. I think the writer of it, Colwell, Reach Out. I don't know whether Adrian Smith was in the band with him at the time it was written, but the bloke who wrote it, this Colwell fella, he was in Adrian Smith's solo project when he first left Maiden, ASAP. Adrian Smith and project. He's in that band. He's on that album. I think they were all mates from being younger as well. This did also come with a glossy sleeve. I don't have it. Mine's just the bog standard sort of paper one, but it's like as new, so I don't mind. Wasted Years. And the second single of Somewhere in Time was the second single that they did with a poster sleeve. And I love this song, Stranger in a Strange Land. I'm hoping to God they do this live in June when we go and see them. I really, really want them to do this song so badly. The B-side, That Girl, is a cover, and I can't abide it. I don't know who it is. I just do not like it at all. So I'll show you the poster and the record. I do have two records in this for the simple reason is when I got the poster sleeve single, it had that. I hate, that's the silver things I was telling you about. That I had Flight Vics when I hate them. So seeing this going cheap on its own without the poster, so I got it. That was how it was originally when I bought the poster version. So that's the one I wanted. So I've just kept them both. And the poster for this one, that's one side, which has got a bigger version of that beautiful Eddie as Clint Eastwood. And the other side is a stage shot from the Somewhere on tour. That blew me away when I seen that. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, it's rather interesting, I think, to note that the two singles off that album, Wasted Years and Stranger in a Strange Land, both of them were written by Adrian Smith. Not Steve Harris or Bruce Dickinson. It was Adrian Smith who wrote them both, which I was quite surprised at. Two cracking songs, man, I must admit. Wasted Years isn't one of my single ones. One of my single ones. One of my favourite ones, but I do think it's overrated. However, I do really like it. But I love this so much more. Stranger in a Strange Land. Next single was 1988. I didn't even know they had a new album or single coming out. I was just at HMV one Saturday. Walked into HMV in Millsborough. This is not when it was in the Cleveland Centre. It was when it was outside. And then this single just hit me. I was like, whoa, look at that. I must have just felt lucky and got it. Can I Play with Madness? With the exclusive transfer, which I do have. Twice. He looks a bit like Rick Mill, whoever that is. Black Bat Blues. I love that song. It's actually bit of a Mickey take. It's quite funny. I'll just show you the ones. They're exactly the same. They've both got the same labels, and they've both got the limited edition transfer with them, which is obviously never been used, which was that. I think the instructions, what you had to do is you had to put it in water. And then you had to stick it on a cup. Why the thought of that, I don't know. And the labels are just the black with silver print. And black bar blue is the same there. Put that back in. Keep it protected. It's weird to think that that transfer and that record is $35-year-old in March. Wow. Kind of pure madness. The second single off the album, which was Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. This came out and it was blazoned all over with that they were headlining Monsters of Rock at Donington Park, only UK appearance, and it was The Evil That Men Do. That was on the back there, look. I do have 3 of these. Right, there's a reason for it. This was the limited edition with, I'll take out the plastic to show you, gatefold sleeve. And the gatefold sleeve catalogue number is EMG 64. So when you open the record, that's exactly what it should say, EMG 64, which it does there. The ones that did not have the gatefold sleeve, still a picture sleeve, but it just didn't fold out like that. They were just EM 64 with no G. And the record should have exactly the same number on. EM 64 there. You find a lot when they've got the gatefold sleeve, they've been mismatched. They just say EM, not EMG. So if you are after a genuine gatefold one, make sure that the record itself on the label has EMG in it as well. And the other one I got, it's got a bit of a tatty gatefold sleeve, and it is mismatched. But the reason I bought this is because these are, you don't often see these at all. Very, very few and far between. I've only ever seen 2, this being one of them. And it's the 4-prong push-out centre. I don't know whether they were for general sale or whether they were made for jukeboxes. I don't know, because the majority of them are the solid centre. So yeah, there's not many. I'm not saying it's mega rare. It just looks weird when you're a collector and you've never seen them before. To see them with those middles, it's bizarre. But yeah, this is just an EM. It's not an EMG 64, so technically this should not have the gatefold sleeve. But like I said, I didn't get this one for the sleeve. I got it for the actual 4-prong record. So 1988's The Evil That Men Do. As a rule, Maiden only ever used to release, which I think a lot of bands did, when they would do a new album, they'd only release 2 singles off it. But because they headlined Donington, they released this as a souvenir single. The 7-inch single is the album version, which is just a studio version, but the CD single and the 12-inch single are live at Donington. The cut to shape picture disc is also the studio album. And this is the Clairvoyant. I was there, but I was like way far back there. I'm not going to point him out, but there's somebody on there who I'm 99% sure was my friend. And trust me, no longer is. But he's on there. I can see him from here, but I won't point him out. And I won't say why he's not friends with me anymore. I'm not friends with him. Poster sleeve, limited edition. Also, the poster sleeve version only was clear vinyl. And the B-side, you're a live version of Donington again of The Prisoner. The live at Donington, both live at Donington, was for the simple fact they wanted it to be like a commemorative thing and a celebration of the fact it was the first time they headlined Donington. The silly thing is, if you watch the video to this, the live footage on stage of them, it's not Donington. They'll have you believe it is, but it isn't. And the reason you know is if you look at any photos taken at Donington, look at Bruce's legs. He's got like these like Blackie Lawless style straps on his trousers. And I remember him wearing them when I was there. On the video, he's got totally different kit on. And you can even see there's a flag up in the audience, a big Eddie, and a one from another country. It's not Donington. So don't let them fool you. So one side, it's got the artwork of the front there with obviously the folded front and back. And the inside, look at that. Look at that, Eddie. Blew me away, that. Also, it came out when they were on stage to try and stop the pushing and shoving. They said, if you stop all the crushing because people are getting hurt, we didn't know at the time, but obviously it came out the two people that lost their lives during the day. It was horrible. They got crushed to death. And to try and stop the pushing, they announced, then Bruce Dickinson said, if you calm down, we'll tell you something we weren't going to say till the end. And they announced that they were going to do a little mini UK tour at the end of the year. So it wasn't their only UK appearance after all. So they played Whitley Ice Rink, went to that as well, and that's probably one of the greatest gigs of my life. So, yeah, studio version on the 7-inch, live on the 12, that's the Clairvoyant. I do have the Clairvoyant on black vinyl as well, but I forgot to show it, but there's no picture sleeve or anything like that, it's just bog standard. So, the year after the Clairvoyant, which was 88, they released a full-length video, which was recorded on the Seventh Son tour at Birmingham Arena. So, they released a live single off that video. Some people technically class it as a fourth single off Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I don't, because this version's nowhere near as good as the studio. I love this song, and it's a live version of Infinite Dreams. Very limited edition with a patch, which I've still got in the cellophane, and then I've also got a normal one behind it without the patch. The record's exactly the same, unlike the Evil That Men Do. The one with or without the patch, it doesn't have a different catalogue number. It's EM117. And on the B-side, there's a live version of Killers, and it's a great live version as well. The only difference, apart from the patch, is it says EM117 on the normal, but one with the patch, it says EMS 117, but it doesn't on the record, which I found a bit weird. You'd have thought it would have been EMP for patch, but then again, there was a picture disc. So, yeah, this is the one single off that, and that's 1989's Infinite Dreams. Next up was 1990 with a new album, No Prayer for the Dying. Exit Adrian Smith, enter Yannick Gers. This was one of the worst songs on the album for me, but a lot of people say it was one of the best. Holy smoke, love the artwork. It was like it was back to the early 80s stuff. I didn't realise as well, I think it was deliberate, because when they did a tour, it was like they were back to wearing jeans and leather jackets and stuff like that. like they used to in the early 80s. So it was like a sort of a back to basics thing, which a lot of people hated. I loved it. First shot with Mr. Gers there. This does have 2 sleeves. It's no particular reason. It's just that when I bought it, it had a tatty sleeve. So I've got an upgrade. Same horrible, crappy black and silver labels. And the B-side is All In Your Mind, which is a cover by, I have no idea. The 12-inch and the CD singles also got another cover on, Kill Me Ce Soir, which I think is a Golden Earring song. And I love their version of that. I've never heard the Golden Earring one. But the other B-side to this, not All In Your Mind, the other one, Kill Me Ce Soir, love it. So that's Yannick Gers' debut with the 1990s Holy Smoke. Next up, this single was the second one with Yannick Gers, off No Prayer for the Dying. It got released Christmas Eve, 24th December 1990. And then on New Year's Eve of 1990 into 91, 31st December, it went straight in the UK charts at #1. And it's the only #1 single I've had to date, and it's Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. This is the special etched 7-inch single. And on the B-side is I'm a Mover, which is a cover version of a song by Free, who I cannot abide. So you get both songs on side A, and then on side B, it's all like etched Christmas messages from the band. And just a plain black label in the middle. Again, this one did come with a glossy and a non-glossy sleeve. I'm lucky enough to get the glossy one there. And then I got this one again, exactly the same sleeve, glossy. But the reason I got this one, there's the B-side again etched. But the A side doesn't have a label. So that's it's kind of classed as a mispress, I suppose, but it looks weird with no label on. I seen that, I thought, oh, I'm having that. And then they also released a 7-inch picture disc in a brain pack with I'm a Mover on the B-side as well. And this has just got like a flip up to reveal Eddie's brain. And then, oh God, they don't make it easy, do they? It doesn't want to come out. Oh, bugger, it's broke. Happy New Year one side. I love that artwork. That was on the t-shirt. So that's what was called the Brain Pack, for obvious reasons. So that's 1990s Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. Next up was just quite a bog standard 7-inch, really. It was the first single of Fear of the Dark, and another one of my favourite Maiden songs, Be Quick or Be Dead. And when I first heard this, I couldn't believe how heavy it was. I actually thought, and so did be made, thought it sounded pretty much like Metallica. Don't now, but at the time it came out, I was like, whoa! And it was written by, I think it was Bruce Dickinson, and the man who all you so-called Maiden fans hate, Yannick Gers. Yeah, he's useless, but he comes out with songs like that. Idiots. This was only ever pressed with that awful plastic label. It seemed to be, as time went on, that was getting more and more common into the 90s. And then when they stopped making records, now they've made the comeback, you don't even see it anymore, thankfully. The B-side is it Nodding Donkey Blues or Space Station? Yeah, Nodding Donkey Blues. It's not great, to be honest. Pretty basic, but for me, one of their greatest singles. Be Quick or Be Dead. Second single off Fear of the Dark, which I think was to commemorate their second Monsters of Rock at Donington headline performance, and it's From Here to Eternity. And with the exception of their own self-titled Soundhouse tapes, this was the first single to not have Eddie on the front cover, apart from Run to the Hills Live. First studio single. And the B-side, Roll Over Vic Vella. Vic Vella was one of their road crew, and it's basically Roll Over Beethoven with the words changed. This is also an etched disc. Disgusting. One of them again. And on the other side, it's actually an etched Eddie artwork to commemorate the Monsters of Rock. I think it's jolly clever the way they do it, really. Obviously, you don't play that side, just in case anybody's wondering. Hence why they put both songs on one side. 1992's From Here to Eternity, which kind of sounds like AC/DC. Next up, my favourite, Fear of the Dark Live. Numbered. With Tail Gunner on the B-side. This is a poster sleeve. And those awful crappy silver labels again. Hate them so much. The poster, this is mint. I went on this tour. We saw these on this tour in Sheffield, and the Almighty opened for them, and they were amazing. There's that one side. And that's the other. Not the greatest single, but certainly not the easiest to come across now. That's 1993's Fear of the Dark Live. I think it was just not long after that it was announced that Bruce Dickinson was quitting. So they released the real dead one, the second of 3 live albums. And Fear of the Dark was a for real live one, so this one they released. And they based the artwork on Bruce leaving. This is Hallowed Be Thy Name, with Eddie finishing Bruce off there. Eddie's head is huge. Rothschild Live on the B-side. And this is red vinyl. Transparent red vinyl. Again, a poster sleeve. Oh. They're a pain, these poster sleeves, mind. How happy Bruce looks there. And then that's kind of similar to the inner sleeve of the live albums. I don't know. I think I'd rather have had either a shorter single, or I would have rather have had Hallowed Be Thy Name be a single from The Number of the Beast, like a studio version, because it's such a good song, but it's not the best live version, to be honest. There you go. Hallowed Be Thy Name live. So the next single that got a 7-inch release was the first one without Bruce. There was a couple of other singles with Blaze on vocals, but they either came out CD singles or 12-inch. This was the first 7-inch single for me, not only should this have never been released at all, let alone as a single, but this should never ever have been written. This is one god awful, terrible, terrible song, The Angel and the Gambler. But that picture disc is gorgeous. For me, the single should have been Future Real, and then maybe another one like either Do the Long One, The Clansman, or Lightning Strikes Twice. I don't know. This came with like a little sort of semi-gatefold type of thing, with the artwork in full on like that. The colours on there are amazing. I think it just looks beautiful. And then it folds to that, and then you get the full band. I feel sorry for Blaze, because he gets such a lot of crap and he doesn't deserve it. He had massive shoes to fill, and I absolutely loved his stuff that he did in the band. I really did. I just don't get the hate he gets. There you go. He wasn't Bruce, but there you go. He kept the band going for a while. The god-awful, The Angel and the Gambler. So by the time the next 7-inch single came out, Blaze was gone. Bruce and Adrian were back. And it was Out of the Silent Planet. I know The Wicker Man was out before this, but The Wicker Man didn't get a 7-inch release. Red vinyl, numbered. I think we're red vinyl, mind. Nice picture labels on that as well. And the B-side is Aces High, recorded live on the Ed Hunter tour in 1999. There was no UK dates for that. I went to see them in France. They played Paris. What a gig. Megadeth opened. I'm just checking that out to say, oh yeah, that does open for a nice little band shot there. I didn't particularly like this song very much when it first came out. However, over the years it's grown on me a hell of a lot, and I really do like it now. I think, to be honest, I think the Brave New World album's fantastic. When I first heard it, I thought it was quite patchy, but I think it's a really strong album now. So that's was it 2000? 2000's Out of the Silent Planet. The next single that came out on 7-inch was in 2002. And it was sort of kind of to say they'd release a single off Rock in Rio, but it was mainly to raise money for the Clive Bear Trust Fund. When it came out, they had MS, so they re-released Run to the Hills. Notice the trimmed Iron Maiden logo at the bottom. And they've kept the same photo and stuff, but they've like obviously modernised it. And this was pressed on red vinyl with a snazzy little picture label. Now, Run to the Hills is the studio version, but Total Eclipse is live. So that was something different that they did. So that's the reissue 2002 release of Run to the Hills. The following year was when The Mighty Dance of Death came out, and the first single off that, catchy as hell, Wildest Dreams. The B-side is called Pass the Jam. It's exceptionally long. It's weird. I think it's instrumental. And I think this was green. Yeah, green vinyl. I love the Dance of Death album. 2003, Wildest Dreams. Second single of Dance of Death was Rainmaker. Technically not an art, like painted artwork, but Eddie's there. And this has got Dance of Death orchestra version on the B-side. And this is a nice sort of pale blue. They did do a third single of Dance of Death, but it was a CD only in a box, and it was No More Lies. You got a wristband with it. Didn't get a 7-inch. So that was the last 7-inch single of Dance of Death, Rainmaker. Now this is where I started getting my own stuff back again. I bought this on the day of release, and I've still got the same one. And this is from 2005. I think this was a re-release to sort of push the early days History of Iron Maiden DVD. So this was a re-release of The Number of the Beast. And it was January the 1st or 2nd it came out. 2005. This has got the Number of the Beast album version, and it's got the live version of Brixton on side 2. I wasn't at the Brixton shows. I wish I was. This came with a red vinyl single, and actually this has never been played. Maybe I should one day. And you also got, oh dear, a poster. Nice. And on the other side, calendar. No, it must have been the 3rd of January, which was the Monday. And I bought this. Captain Cook Square, Middlesbrough. Virgin Megastore, which no longer exists. It's now a pound shop. 2005 reissue of The Number of the Beast. Same year, a couple of months later, they did a second single, pretty much like The Number of the Beast, a reissue. This time they reissued The Trooper. And the B-side was Another Life, live in 2005. Again, this is unplayed. I've never played this. There was a CD single and a 12-inch picture disc as well, which I've got. And there's only the CD. I think I played only once. I could do with playing it again, actually. This is one of the thickest 7-inch singles I think I've ever owned. That is beautiful. Look at that. So thick. And like the reissue Number of the Beast, this also came with a fold-out poster. And on the other side, you got the Dance of Death World Tour 2003 and 2004 tour dates on. That's a nice, that is a really nice edition of that single, I think. Blue vinyl and poster. And a nice, shiny card sleeve. So that's the 2005 blue vinyl reissue of The Trooper. We're nearly there. This was the only 7-inch single off A Matter of Life and Death. The first single off that album was the reincarnation of Benjamin Breed, but it was a 10-inch single, which will go with the 12 inches. So this was released on... This wasn't, actually. This was released in December, but there was a download version which was released on Boxing Day. This is Different World picture disc. Guess what's on the B-side live. What is their problem with, really? There's 2 versions of this, apparently. There was one which is the one I've got, thankfully, is the rarer one. You see how there's no ridge in the middle. Normally in that middle centre bit, there's a full circle from sort of where the gap between my fingers is raised to show you where the label goes. That one just pure flat. where there is one with that raise, and that's the only difference. I think it might have been pressed in a different place, but I don't know. Yeah, Fear of the Dark again. But I do like that. I do like that song, Different World. I think it's a cracking opener. So that's from 2006, Different World. So this is the last one in this video. This isn't vinyl, but it's made to look like a vinyl cover. There's 3 of these. I've been told that the third one's actually a bootleg, but I don't know. But I'm led to believe that these are promos, that they are CD singles. They are CDR as well. But these are the Final Frontier ones. So the first one is El Dorado. And that opens out. Well, it does if you can get out the plastic sleeve. Opens out like that with your CD inside. These aren't easy to come by, especially the last one that I don't have. Yeah, nice to have, though, El Dorado. And the second one that I've got is the title track, The Final Frontier. The one that I don't have is Coming Home, which is probably the best song of them all. So it's one of the best ones on the album, because that is their power album for me. I think these are enhanced as well, because I'm sure they've got videos on. And there's like little tabs there which push out if you want to slot the CD on the inside. I keep them in the plastic thing they got sent in anyway. Keeps them protected more. So yes, I would absolutely love Coming Home, and then that would complete them out of all 3 then. But that's another grail that I don't think I'll ever get. So that is 2010's El Dorado and The Final Frontier promo CDs. There is one more little bonus single which I forgot. It's actually a Nicole McBrain solo single, Rhythm of the Beast. It's quite jazzy actually. Dave Murray plays guitar on it. It's instrumental. It's not the greatest thing, but you know, it's there. There's a picture disc, a shaped picture disc of this as well, which I used to have, but I don't have it now. If I ever see it, I'll get it, but I won't pay over the odds for it, mind. Beehive Boogie. He released this to coincide, I think, with he had a drum clinic tour. There was a VHS of it, which I used to have. I don't have that anymore. But then there was a very limited run on DVD, which you could only get from I don't know, it was the website or the fan club, so I've got that somewhere anyway. So that was 1990, I think, was it? Oh, 91, the year after No Prayer for the Dying. So that's Nicole McBrain, Rhythm of the Beast. So there you go. That's the first part of the singles. That's the original UK pressings with the odd import thrown in. There's going to be another 2 parts to this, I think. One's going to be the reissue singles, and one's going to be the bootlegs that I've got. There's some gorgeous bootlegs. Wait till you see them. So yes, that's it for that one. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you Maiden fans have enjoyed this. And obviously, if you're a non-Maiden fan, then you probably won't have got this far. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to see more, there's more coming. I know I've said it before, and you've told me yeah. But if you don't want it, let me know. If you do, let me know. If you've got any of this stuff, let me know. I'll be quite interested to see what you've got that differs from mine, or that we've got that match. Yes, I'm just looking around to make sure I haven't missed anything. I don't think I have. Excellent. Thank you so much for watching. If you've subscribed, love you to bits. You're a star. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I will see you all very, very soon on the next one. Watch how you go and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. See you later.